Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Phillips and you're joining us on this episode of Play It Right TV. We're sitting here at the DLSU University Players Dorm in Agno Compound, and we're going to have a lot of stories, a lot of hidden gems, and a lot of things that you might uncover with this championship special. But I want you guys to meet all the people sitting next to me. You already know Ms. Mika and Sir Dean, but let's take a moment to talk to everybody here who is a part of the DLSU program, starting with our championship coach, Coach Topex.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. You did all the talking already.
So we have Coach Topex, and then starting from his left, we have Isaiah Phillips. Isaiah Phillips. All right, we have the Flash, Mark Nonoy. All right. We have the one and the only, Josh David. Coming back around, we have my bunso, Motor Mike. We have CJ Austria. All right. And then ako ang Kuya Ben.
Now we've got a lot of surprises for all those who are watching us, because a little bit later on, Kuya Ben himself will take us on a special tour around the dorm. Plus, we have an exclusive one-on-one interview with F. Escandor, starter with LaSalle, the Game 2's leading scorer for either team with 14 points. Watch out for those.
Absolutely. And so thank you so much for that. I really want to dive into this episode by just kind of basking in that moment. And so I'm going to take some time and ask everybody, what does it feel like now to finally be a champion? How does that make you feel? What is the pride that you feel right now? And let's go ahead and kick it back over to Coach Topex.
Well, I mean, we were having conversations up to now that I don't really know how it feels to win a championship. You know, I guess everybody on this chair kind of still doesn't have a defining like feeling. Like words couldn't really express the exact, you know, of amount of like energy, joy, pain, or whatsoever. But it's really different. You know, even Evan earlier, I called him up and said, "How does it feel?" He doesn't know how it felt. Like ganito ba yung nananalo ng championship? So it's just really something special.
Thank you so much. Mark, I want to talk to you for a second. Kumusta ang feeling mo sa championship talaga? Kasi dati yung experience, yung finals with UST, yung Rookie of the Year season. Pero na yun, championship talaga. So, sarap yung feeling or ano?
First, sobrang thankful ako kasi isa ako sa part na nakuha yung championship, and then nagpapasalamat din ako sa coaches and management or sa mga LaSalle community na patuloy nagsuporta sa amin, and then nakuha din natin to. I hope na sana ma-defend nyo to, and sobrang sarap sa feeling na mag-exit sa LaSalle na isa sa champion, alumni champion or whatsoever. Basta champion kami.
Let's kick it over to Isaiah. Isaiah, you were one of the rookies this year. Happy birthday, by the way. It's your birthday. Happy birthday! Being one of the old rookies here, as I was before. But how does it feel to kind of come along on this journey? You've come a long way in your own athletic journey. I remember when we were kids, you know, doctors said that you wouldn't be able to walk again after a lot of the injuries that you had, and now you've come all this way. What is that feeling like, and how are you basking in that with the brotherhood that we've built here outside of just us?
You know, it's a surreal feeling. You know, for example, in practice, I watch these guys, you know, work tremendously hard. And the fact that the outcome was a championship was not only special to this team, but I think the whole De La Salle community. It really feels like we had a real huge opportunity to give back, you know, after the 7-year drought. You know, this is just something very special. The type of community that Coach Topex built and the type of program that he built is a huge factor in the success too. So, I mean, my feelings are still, you know, all over the place. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Coach Topex instilled that we were going to do something special. And this is just the outcome of that. So I'm just really thankful to be part of something bigger than myself, be something part of, you know, a community that just rallies behind each other, you know, with this championship. So very thankful and very blessed.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that. Josh, you've been sitting over there looking nice, looking clean. Alam namin yung departure si Evan Elia, no, he was really instrumental for us yung point guard namin. So ikaw, kumusta ang feeling kasi next year you're going to be one of the leading guards kasama champion experience mo. Anong feeling and how are you prepared to defend the crown?
Siguro yung sa guidance na din nila Evan, mga alumni ng men's basketball team ng Lasal, and especially kay Coach Topex, share ko lang yung bigla siya tumawag sa akin na, Josh, mag-point guard ka na. Sobrang nagulat ako kasi kakagising ko lang nun. Pero parang, yun nga, pero sabi niya sa akin na yun na yung part na pagiging ready sa next chapter. So yun lang, parang sobrang thankful lang din ako sa mga tulong, lalo na sa mga coaching staff natin and sa mga alumni ng Lasal.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Let's take it over to Motor Mike over here. It was a very physical series. I mean, I was scared for a minute because I kept seeing you fall on the ground. You were going through a lot of things. It was a very physical game back and forth. How did you maintain that level of tenacity, and how did you will this team to victory with your rebounds and everything, dealing with that physicality for us?
For me, in every single game I play, ever since I stepped foot in the country and stepped foot in LaSalle, it's always been about giving glory to two things, God and the LaSallian community. Those two are one of the biggest reasons why I play the game, why I play this game, why I work so hard, we work so hard in practice. And the thing is, when our neta was filled, it was filled every single time we play, and I saw all my classmates, even my professors were there, and so when you get knocked down, when you get hurt, when you make a bad play, when you miss a shot, and the first thing I do, I look up to the crowd. They're there. They're always counting us on. They're always cheering for us. And a lot of people may see the numbers that they saw when we started having a lot of success. But my biggest thing I noticed in the LaSalle community is when we lost that first game to UP in round 1. And I saw how big the community came out, because it's easy to join, the games when we're winning, but when we experience those defeats, even in game 1 of the finals, I saw how the LaSalle community, like Kuya said, really rallies behind the players. And I think that's a testament to the virtues of being LaSallian, the 3 core values. It's not only seen in the court, in the classroom with Brother Bernie, leading the example for everyone. So that's really where I get all my inspiration, to just go out there, give it my all, get everything I can, and leave it on the floor.
Absolutely, and you did leave it out on the floor. I mean, your face was all over that floor. You was diving for those balls. You were doing everything.
My biggest thing, I got on my teeth this season. I didn't lose anymore.
Appreciate that. CJ Austria, alala mo ba yung game namin sa UE, yung first half, yung struggle talaga. And then tapos yung halftime, wala si Coach Topex kasi we weren't following his game plan, we weren't executing. Walk us through that. Anong feeling sa second half sa UE? How did we bounce back from that?
Siguro natakot kami kay Coach Topex. Nakakatakot magalit si Coach Topex. Siguro halftime, si ate, nakita ko na from the crowd na sumisigaw siya ng wake up, Lasal, wake up. So pagpasok namin sa dagat, nag-usap-usap kami na kung paano natin itatama yung mga pagkakamali natin, na paano tayo paglabas natin, mas maganda yung pakita natin. So kami nila KQ, nila Evan, lahat naman kami nag-usap-usap na kung paano natin may iangat yung Lasal, na parang para tayo mag-execute. Sabi ko kay KQ, laruin mo lang yung laro mo, huwag ka masyado mag-gamble. Then, yun, after nun, naging maganda yung laro namin ni KQ sa ni Cortez, kasi mas na-generate ni KQ yung buong floor. Then yun, thanks God na nakuha namin yung panalo namin nung sa UE.
Thank you so much for that.
Ako naman magtatanong. Magtatanong ako kay Kuya Ben. Okay. Babalikan ko yung sinabi ni CJ, because at that point of the season, 3 na ang talo ng Lasal. 1 game left sa first round. At of course, yung second round, parating pa lang. Down 11 ang Lasal in the first half. Tapos, kagaya ng sinabi ni Kuya Ben, hindi na nag-coach, si Coach Topex no second half because he felt he wanted to deliver a message. I will ask him about kung bakit nga siya hindi nag-coach. Pero pinag-coach niya si assistant coach Caloy Garcia. He felt that parang ineffective ang nangyari dun sa first half because that was supposed to be almost a sure win for LaSalle. Down ang LaSalle by 11. But that was also the turning point because nung panalo ng LaSalle yung laban na yon, sunod-sunod na. Sweep yung second round and then all the way to the playoff against NU, 9 straight wins. So, Kuya Ben, yung nangyaring, yung turnaround ng LaSalle, especially in that crucial game ng UE, nung naipanalo ninyo yung laro, did you want to dedicate that victory to coach? Because, you know, it's the ultimate sacrifice for a coach to not coach and give it to your staff.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny you bring that up, Dean, because now that I'm reflecting on it, I have to look at it from multiple perspectives, from the player's perspective, from the team captain's perspective, and also just from an outsider's perspective. The one thing that we all appreciate and love here about Coach Topex is that he's really willing to fight and die for us. You know, I remember the first game of Ateneo, he went out and said, nobody go to the media room, I'll do it myself, it's on me, don't look at the players, this was my fault. And when you have your coach do that in the beginning of a season, you know, it really sets the tone. And we really appreciate that. And obviously that's where the frustrations came over in UE because he said, guys, I'm willing to die for you, but you have to fight for me as well. And in that first half, we weren't executing what he wanted. We weren't doing what he said. We weren't following his game plan. And so as a coach, now that I'm looking at it from that perspective, sobrang galit ako. You know, I would be extremely frustrated as well. And so that was a turnaround where he said, guys, either you're with me or you're not. Either we're all in this together as 16 players and a coaching staff or we're not. And coming out of that second half, stepping down ECJ, we had to wake up. And thankfully we were able to wake up to put together that win streak to then force us into the final series. So, you know, as a player, you try to understand what's happening in the middle of a game. You try to put your emotions and feelings to the side. You reflect after that game later, and you say, well, maybe coach was right. Maybe I need to talk to the team. Maybe I need to look at myself first before I point a finger at coach and say, what's going on? And thankfully, you know, we all stuck together. Personally, for me, you know, I saw a lot of challenges in the season, up and down minutes, up and down, trying to find my performance, but Coach Topex always told me, we need you. You're valued on this team. We appreciate you. You know, I picked you to be the captain for a reason. And for me to hear that from him and knowing his struggles, what he went through, it really bonded us for life. And the outcome was finally we brought the crown back to Taft. So these are the memories that a 40-year-old Ben won't forget, an 80-year-old Ben won't forget. And Coach Topex always says that. And so, you know, it's been an amazing season. I hope one day, you know, we look back and we just laugh fondly about this because there was a lot that happened.
Well, just as a final note on that, before we turn you over to Mika and then also to Topex, because I also want to find out exactly what went into his head when he didn't coach in that second half. But I also remembered after that game, which we won, I walked inside that dressing room, I talked to you guys, and we said, let's dedicate this victory to Coach Topex. I also remember saying one thing, that if we played the way we played in the second half, I guarantee we'll win the championship. You guys remember that? Yeah. Mika.
Coach, yun naman no, yun din yung sinabi ni Dean, yun yung gusto namin malaman. Nung nakaupo ka doon at hinayaan mo si Coach Caloy, anong tumatakbo sa isip mo, Coach? Napakahirap nun para sa isang head coach na gawin.
First, when I was given the permission by by management to pick, you know, the staff, I didn't really hire an assistant coach. I hired another head coach. You know, these guys know that I don't do anything in practice. Besides to just check on them, play around with them. And I just want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. I mean, these coaches really are really the backbone of this team. I just happen to be the head, but I'm not really the whole of it. You know, I know that sometimes kasi they get to listen to to whatever it is I say too much na hindi na nagre-resonate sa kanya. So when I had the opportunity to do that, and these guys really responded. I remember Mike was hurt during that time. He tried to play with it, and then he said, second half, I don't think I could contribute the way I should. So he just decided to just cheer guys on. During timeouts, he will be all over the place reminding his players. So, para sa akin, it's one of the many aha moments for us. And I will never forget, since Ben is reflecting on the season. People doesn't know that we have rule number 1, and that's use your best judgment. And this guy on my right sometimes just subs himself. And my coaches would tell me, Coach, he just subbed himself. Yes, why not? He subbed himself because he wanted to help. That's not disrespecting me in any bit. Because we had an agreement. I have to abide with what I said. Hindi pwedeng pag okay lang, doon lang ako okay. Pag hindi okay, hindi na pwede. So, if somebody from the outside that's disrespectful for a coach. But again, I'm gonna live by my values, my principles, and my rule number 1. And it will never in any way disrespect me. And he knows that if I need to sub him, I need to sub him. And I will rest him if he needs to come in without my permission, by all means. Because at the end of the day, we wanted to win the championship. And everybody will do whatever it takes to win a championship. So that's where the respect comes in. And that's where trust comes in. I trust him that if he subs himself, he's gonna do something that's gonna win us the game. So it takes away any animosity, any feeling. Yes, we argue. We don't see each other face to face sometimes. But what's good about it is when we have conversations, those are really real conversations. Ben would tell me that he feels like he's not giving any value, but he said, we're still willing to do whatever it takes to help because I'm the kuya here, I'm the team captain. I'm always gonna be thinking about the team first before myself. And every time he has that, it really gives me more reason why I love coaching these players. Even when I told Mark when he was struggling that UAA game, sabi niya sa akin, Coach, kahit off the bench ako And sabi ko, hindi, start ka. And then that was the start of Mark Nonoy giving us those solid numbers. So, ang daming nangyari sa amin that now, and then I'll never forget our donors night when Dean made that shirt, it's our time. And then sabi ko nga, looking back, I saw that shirt earlier, Dean, and sabi ko, wow, who would have thought this guy would tell that 4 months into the season that this is our moment. So all of that came into fruition now, and I'm just so grateful that we're having this conversation. Up to now, I get to check on them. Champion ba tayo? Kasi, yeah, not until like somebody, congrats, sabi ko parang, but still, it's hindi namin talaga nakita yung sarili namin. Where we were a few months ago into where we were now is just a testament of Isaiah mentioned it, winning is gonna be the byproduct. Not only what I was building, what we were building, because they have to buy in. Kahit naman anong sabihin ko kung hindi sila maniniwala. But they bought in so that's important. So I also have to buy in. So sometimes I have to take the back seat because somebody else is leading because it's tiring, especially if it's personal. Kasi sometimes you forget about your own personal problems because you have to take care of their personal problems. So yun yung nakakapagod, but sabi ko nga pwede naman magpahinga minsan because you know that somebody will lead you. At sabi ko nga, if you're the leader, you have to be at the back. Just pushing guys, not really pulling them to where you want to go, but it's just guiding them. And sometimes I'm at the farthest back, but sometimes I'm in front. So they also need to push me. And that's where the UAAP game happened. I was really hoping for that opportunity na makita nila sa sarili nila. It wasn't me who benefited, but it's them. Kasi kaya pala namin manalo kahit wala si coach. Diba, for a coach na hindi ganun but sa akin kasi yun naman ang gusto namin. Sabi ko nga, ultimate namin goal as coaches is to just sit around talk while these guys are winning games and winning championships. That's really something that's gonna be fulfilling for us. So yun yung parang looking back about what happened, that's really the story.
Absolutely. It's hearing that, especially from the coach's side, it really makes you reflect, and we still have so much more reflection to do as players, as coaches, as a community. I want to go back as we're reflecting to that UP series. Josh, now you had a lot of battles. kasama Maymay Kagulanan sa UP, but you guys were former teammates sa LaSalle Green Hills. Anong feeling when you guys were really pushing each other sa final series? Kasi you were both there, you were both battling each other. My reflection sa high school until now, or ano?
Siguro sobrang saya lang din kasi nandun na kami sa stage na gano'n. Knowing na galing na kami sa Green Hills, parang nag-champion kami. Pero naalala ko kasi yung sinabi din ni Coach Topex ng first round. Di ba may natin sila matalo, pero sabi ni Coach Topex, di bibigay sa'yo ni Maymay. So, yun lang, parang kahit papaano, kahit mag-teammates kami dati, pag sa on the court talaga, so kailangan namin maglabanan talaga. So, yun nga, parang sobrang naano ako kay Coach Topex noon parang sabi ko wala muna talagang ano. So, yun, sobrang saya din ako sa kanya kasi kahit papaano yung struggle niya din, na-injury siya, natimbi din siya, saka yung playing time niya, pero sobrang saya lang na nandun na kami sa stage na.
Thank you so much.
May pahabol lang ako kay Josh. Josh, nagkaroon ka ng mga injuries. At itong season na to, yung pinakaunang mong season actually, no, na naglaro sa LaSalle. Parang rookie season mo to, no? Pero you have one more year to play for LaSalle. Anong pakiramdam? Kasi matagal ka naghintay. Nagkaroon ng pandemya, nagkaroon ka ng injuries, hindi ka nakapaglaro. Pero all of a sudden, sa first year mo, nakalaban mo pa si Maymay, nag-champion ka pa.
Yun lang, sobrang na-overwhelm ako, lalo na po dun sa 3-on-3. Parang yun po yung first na liga din. So, parang lahat po ng paghihirap nagbunga din po. And parang worth the wait po. Yung lahat ng... Kasi sobrang hirap man po, pero buti po na nabigyan naman po ng kapalit.
Fantastic. I think I'll say last, because a lot of questions that I get personally is what makes Coach Topex such a great coach. And as I'm going through my doctoral studies, there's a lot of things that I've actually learned about leadership. There's different types of leadership, servant leadership, which Coach Topex talks about a lot, laissez-faire. But Bas and Navalio in 1978 developed this construct called Transformational Leadership Exchange, or TMX. And it really depends on 4 different constructs: inspired motivation, idealized influence, individual consideration, and then intellectual stimulation. Those are the 4 constructs of transformational leadership theory. And Coach Topex actually embodies all of those, even if he does not know that he's doing them right now. He makes sure that he has relationships with all 16 of his players. He makes sure that he's teaching us something to make sure that we're continually intellectually stimulated. He's making sure that the influences that he puts inside or around us, whether it's on the court or the team, that they're beneficial and they're positive. And he's making sure that he's always motivating us. So I think when people ask what makes Coach Topex such a great leader, it's because he's a transformative leader. He's a transformational leadership exchange user. And that's something that maybe you'll learn, especially now that you're a student. And even that's something that really hit me, because I really treasure academia. I really treasure being a scholar. And to have your head coach sacrifice not just all of the things he has to do as a head coach, as bringing all the LaSalle programs together, he's still going to class. And some of our teammates were his classmates. And so I can go on volumes and lengths about Coach Topex, but you've had a chance to hear from everybody. You've had a chance to meet the team and hear some of the stories. There's a lot more coming up, but that's just the last thing I have to say.
Yeah. Well, I still have some questions here for more stories. And I want to ask Coach Topex, I see a poster of an energy vampire in the dressing room of LaSalle. And I also noticed that before you start giving the reminders before the game, pinapatay mo yung ilaw sa loob ng dressing room, at the only thing that you can see is a candlelight. So, can you tell us a little bit about those 2 things? First, that vampire, and second, yung kahalagaan ng pagpatay ng ilaw sa dressing room, Coach Topex.
Well, for the vampire po is, it's how vampires really sucks the blood in you. That's really what they do. But in a team concept, it's really the energy vampire. There's gonna be that person, just like what I always tell them. It could be me. Sometimes it could be you. So just making sure that reminder that the vampire will always be there, as long as you allow him to enter you. So, pag may nakita kang ganun, parang you're gonna look around, ayoko maging energy vampire kasi ayaw dito sa team yun eh, bawal dito sa team eh. So, in a way, it's a sign of making sure that you're always just gonna bring out positivity. You know, easy, absolutely not. Especially if you're playing for a program or a team that's really, you know, really a game changer if you're gonna succeed here. But having that energy vampire really is a reminder to everyone to always be grounded. You know, to always humble yourself, to always surrender your ego for the good of the team. And it's not only for the players, but everybody around that circle, you know, knows that energy vampire. Well, for the lights out, again, I've learned it from Coach Tim before when I was, with him in Alaska. It's a way of grounding. You know, because obviously there's going to be a lot of distractions, especially now with technology. So it's in a way that after all the distractions, what's important is that light. You know, that light is our vision. You know, it's going to be our guiding light. That's going to be our values. That's going to be faith, service, and communion for DLSU. So it's just a reminder. And before, guys were like questioning, why would this guy turn off the lights? But I always remember, like, Mike reminded the coach, are we going to turn off the lights? Because sometimes I forget it. This guy would tell me, Coach, turn the lights. And then he would say, Coach, you forgot to turn the lights out. So it became a ritual for us. You know, to after everything has been done, like preparation, like we always have to be reminded of what's our purpose, what's our cause, what's our values, what's our beliefs. And we have to be always a united front. I think that really kind of gets us in the moment that what's important for us. So is it personal? That's the vampire, or is it about the team? You know, those are the reminders. Sometimes it's kind of subtle, but now reflecting on it, it really was one of the solid fronts of our program. We don't really do anything special here. You know, what you've seen is you've seen everything about basketball, the X and O's, but what's important is the trust that we have for each other, and that's one thing that's really gonna be solid for us.
Talking about rituals, Coach, meron ka ding in-introduce na isang ritual na before the game, on the court, lahat ng team holding hands, saying a prayer. Anong prayer yun na dinadasal ng team at anong purpose ng making that chain of hands on the court before the game?
Well, we all have our prayers, you know. We have all our personal, you know. I always see guys like Earl, Mike reading the Bible before games. Sabi ko nga, we all have our beliefs, you know. We all believe that there's a higher being that's guiding us. But there's also the team prayer that, you know, everybody be guided, you know, but being taken care of. And I think that really shows that bond that we have. You know, we always try to protect that circle. You know, nobody is allowed to enter that circle, not unless you're a part of it. So it's either you're a part of it or not. But once you're part of that bond, that means you are being guided by a bond. You know, that means nobody's gonna step out of that circle if you're a part of it. And not everybody is privileged to be part of that. So parang being a part of this team is a privilege. So yes, there's gonna be a lot of, you know, but this team is special. Just like what Ben said, every 16 player for us in this team, you know, has a purpose for this team. And I will never always treat them equally, but I always treat them fairly. So yun yung palagi ko rin reminder sa kanila.
You know, I just wanted to know, no, since the three of you, the brothers, you're working in one team. What are the advantages and disadvantages of working in a team?
You got it.
Yeah.
I would say some advantages with having my brothers there. It kind of takes any type of pressure off. You know, it kind of reminds, you know, the team that, yes, we're related by blood, but we've also gained extra brothers, you know, and so we can always bring that theme of family to practices. You know, if we have arguments during practices, you know, just like us, you know, we have our arguments as brothers, but it all stems from a foundation of love and support. And so that's the advantage that you have when you have family members. You can, you know, it's easier to gain new family right? Because having your brothers there, you know how that feels. And for the rest of the guys here, you know, they're also my brothers too, and I would protect them, you know, to any lengths, just like how I would do my blood brothers. I guess the disadvantages would be, I'll let Mike talk about that. I can only say things positive.
I would say the disadvantage, I've been going up against these guys since I was 4 or 5, so they know all my moves. So. And it sucks to be in the booth, so they team up on me. I'm the only one, but I'm glad I got 13 or 12 other brothers who I can gang up on them with. But you could, man.
Yeah, it's funny because when we used to be kids, we had a basketball court in our backyard, and it would always be me and Isaiah versus Mike because we were the older brothers. And so our dad would always get mad at us because Mike would come in crying and say they're teaming up on me or they won't let me score. But I'll never forget, I think I was 16 or 17, Mike dunked on me for the first time. And then we kind of stopped messing with him after that because we had created a monster, and so now we don't really mess with each other like that anymore. So it's nice to have a bond. I'm glad that the team can kind of see the internal bond that we have. But something on the Isaiah, we have 16 brothers on this team, and we'll fight for each other no matter what. We'll always have each other's backs on and off the court. I think you saw that with some of the things that Walkie has done throughout the season. Walkie is one of those guys that you always want to have around, no matter what anybody says. I'm glad that he was a part of this team. He was my former captain, and so when we speak about humility, for him to give up being a captain to let me kind of come into that role, I always look to him for guidance and respect and support. And we've had our ups and downs together, but he's an integral part of this team as well, along with the other 15 of us. So it's been a wonderful year.
Napapag-usapan natin family. Tanong ko naman kay Mark Nonoy, doon sa Game 3, nandun yung family mo. Dumating sila galing Bacolod, pati baby mo, karga-kara mo, pagkatapos ng nakuha na natin yung championship. Anong pakiramdam? Kasi mientras naglalaro ka, you hit some big shots. Hindi lang doon sa Game 3, throughout the season. And especially in the finals. Parang nireserba mo yung pinakamagaling na laro mo doon sa finals. Especially since nandun ka yung pamilya mo na nanonood.
Siguro sobrang thankful ako kasi yun nga kila Attorney Mans kasi parang binigyan nila ng chance yung parents ko na makapunta dito kasi yung last na punta nila game 2 namin noon sa UST pa ako, talo kami noon eh. So kumbaga masakit yun, naramdaman nila, and then ngayon naramdaman nila kung gaano kasama maging champion, and yun siguro nagdagdag din ng lakas ng loob ko and tapang siguro, and bibigay ko yung laro na yun para sa parents and sa baby ko kasi yun nga sobrang tagal din kami hindi nagkikita, hanggang video call lang, pero ngayon nakita niya kung paano ako maglaro, nakita niya din kung paano maging champion, at sinuot ko sa kanya yung medal kasi I hope soon na maramdaman niya din yung feeling na ganito.
Mark, itatanong kita, tapos na yung season, tapos na ang playing years mo sa UAAP, bali-balita, ang dami mo na daw offer na mag-pro at maglaro sa MPBL bago ka sumali sa draft sa PBA. Ano ba ang bali-balita dyan sa kampo ng Mark Nonoy?
Ako, wala pa naman akong desisyon para sa akin. Gusto ko lang mabigyan muna ng time yung family ko and then yung baby ko. Gusto ko na umuwi kagad kaso yun nga sabi ni Coach Topex na kailangan natin to kasi ganito yung pakiramdam mo yung champion madaming interviews, lahat. Kasi pag talo ka, hindi ka na pwede. sabi ko, okay coach, minsan lang nangyari to tas last year ko pa, so hindi na pwede mababalik to. So, mga rumors yan, iyaan na sila. Gusto ko lang talaga makasama muna yung parents ko and then yung baby ko. Yun lang talaga yung goal ko muna. Baka next year na ako mag-decision.
Okay. Tatanong naman natin si CJ Austria. Nabanggit ni Mark Nonoy yung tapang. Ito palagay ko, sa buong team ng Lasal, ito na ang pinakamatapang.
Yes, sir!
Hindi lang yun, ito na din ang mas physical. CJ, yung mga daring drives mo, down the baseline, maski na malaki ang katapat mo, paano mo na isi-shoot yung mga tira mo? Kung minsan, nalulusutan mo, nagre-reverse ka pa, pagpasok mo, pag nagpe-penetrate ka, naiisip mo ba kung anong klaseng shot ang gagawin mo? At anong klaseng tapang at lakas ng loob ang kailangan ng isang player na gawin yung mga ginagawa mo sa court?
Siguro kung bakit ko na shoot yung mga tira na yun, siguro dahil lang siguro sa kapal ng mukha ko. Siyempre, sa team kasi meron kaming role na parang ikaw slasher, siya shooter, gano'n. So okay yung slasher ng team na parang every time
Shooter ka din.
Shooter ka na, no?
every time nakahawak ko ng bola, parang mindset ko is to attack talaga. Attack to the basket. And so yun, minsan meron mga moves na hindi ko naman ginagawa sa practice na nangyayari sa game. After ko naman nagawa yun, na parang mag-celebrate ako sa sarili ko na parang, paano ko nagawa yun? Na parang, hindi ko naman pinapractice yun eh. Pero bigla siya mag-shoot. So yun, kailangan lang talaga sa laro ng tapang kasi kapag di palaban yung loob mo, parang wala ka masyadong confidence sa sarili mo.
Nabanggit mo practice. Isa sigurong factors na dapat i-practice ng team, yung free throw shooting. Pagkatapos ng eliminations, number 6 ang Lasal sa free throw shooting. Number 1 yata ang UP eh. Pero naipakita naman natin sa lahat ng mga nanonood na ang Lasal bagamat struggling tayo sa free throw, marami din tayong nagagawa to compensate. Pero natandaan ko isang laro, CJ, meron kang mga namintis na free throw na parang ang sama-sama ng pakiramdam mo. At alam ko, pagkatapos ng laro, dinamdam mo yon at nag-practice ka siguro ng mga extra hours so that hindi na mauulit yun. Kwento mo nga sa amin kung ano nangyari doon at kung anong klaseng dedication ang binigay mo sa sarili mo to make sure that sa susunod na pagkakataon na mag-free throws ka, hindi na masyadong magmimintis.
Siguro mas magdadagdag lang kami ng extra shooting na parang sa practice naman na ginagawa na po namin na mag-free throws kasi sabi nila ang Lasal ang weakness is yung free throw po. So sa practice naman pagpatapos na yung practice namin po, nag-15s po kami, so parang 2 straight parang count as 1 pa lang po yun. So kailangan namin maka 15 na ganun, so tinatrabaho po namin yung free throws namin. And nung high school po ako, number 1 free throw po ako eh. Kaso, di ko po alam anong nangyari nung nag-college po ako.
Ngayon ko lang nalaman
Ba't sila tumatawa?
Ngayon ko lang nalaman kasi, sir.
Sandali. Pero, kuminsan nagbimintis, pero karamihan naman pumapasok sa mga free throws mo, CJ. Pero, napansin ng marami, nung game 2 sa finals, nag 2-3 points ka. Parang mas madali yata yung 3 points sa'yo kaysa sa free throw. Totoo ba yun?
Kapal lang mukha.
Yun, kapal lang ng mukha. Nung tumira ako na yung, siguro pang 3 beses ko nang tira yun, dun pa lang pumasok. So, pagka tira ko, sabi ko, kapal lang ng mukha, tinira ko, pumasok, then celebrate, ganyan.
Yung reaction niya sobra eh, grabe. Yung kasi Coach Topex, yung pangalawa. Dumipensa ka. Yung pangalawang shoot mo, Jay.
Tapos yung pangalawang pagpasa sa akin, Evan, nag-step side pa ako, tapos bigla akong tinira. Sabi, di ko po alam kung paano pumapasok. Siguro dahil sa kapal ng mukha ko niya.
Mika, any last question from you before we wrap this up? It's been such an interesting interview.
Ang gusto kong malaman, sa buong season na to, ano yung isang bagay na sinabi sa inyo ni Coach Topex? Kasi clearly, motivational coach talaga siya. Ano yung isang sinabi sa inyo ni Coach Topex na never yung makakalimutan hanggang pag-alis mo sa Lasal?
Uy, magandang tanong yan, Mika. Pwede niyong sagutin yon, lahat kayo. Yung one lesson na na-pick up nyo kay Coach Topex na dinala nyo all the way to the championship. Magandang tanong nyo kay Mika.
Isa lang talaga, rule number 1. No?
Rule number one.
Yun yung talaga
Yung rule number one niya.
Tumatak talaga sa amin na hindi talaga namin makakalimutan kasi kahit off the court, parang yun nga, dito sa dorm, parang tinanggal nga ni Coach Topex yung ano namin yung curfew. Basta alam niyo lang kung anong kaatnan nyo, kung gagawin nyo yan. Yun yung parang, kasi yung first niya talaga na pasok dito, yun yung talaga yung, wala akong ibang role, kundi isa lang. Yun lang talaga yung sinabi niya sa amin, kaya hindi namin makakalimutan. Wala na kayong pang rules eh.
Yung lang ni Mark, yun lang din kasi ang laking galing kami kay Coach Derek na yun nga may curfew, madaming Pero yung sinabi ni Coach Topex na rule number 1 lang. Kahit gusto mong mapapaisip ko kung gagawin mo o hindi. So, yun talaga yung tumatak sa akin.
What have you learned today? Just to stay together, like the first round, we had our ups and downs, and Coach Topex always reminded each and every one of us to stay together. Stay together no matter what, protect each other, because at the end of the day, he's going to protect every one of us. So I think that rule is just so important because it really preaches that bond and how strong and important that bond is. We couldn't have got to this point without that bond or that championship title. It would never, ever happen without us continually to stay together. And so I think that was a really good thing that Coach Topex instilled in us and into the team.
Sa akin naman, yung sinabi ni Coach palagi, live in the moment. Live in the moment, enjoy the moment. Because you never get to have this moment again. You never get to experience this again. And for me, I'm always, in my play, how I play the game, I feel like before I would really miss out on enjoying the crowd, enjoying the things, because I would just get so caught up in the plays and everything. But when Coach would preach that to me, I would really take a second, like, wow, this is the last year of my 5 seniors, the last year of Kuya Ben. Like, really just sinking in and just living in the moment. I mean, you really get to appreciate every little thing, every little memory that you might have overlooked before. And so I think that's something that I really appreciate, that you can really sa ibang bagay sa buhay ko, like live in the moment, enjoy the moment. Especially there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of things, and daming sinasabi, pero in that circle, yung sinabi ni Coach, yung circle, we're in the moment, that's us right there. We're all holding hands, we're all living in the same moment, we're all taking the same breath, we're all saying the same words together, and so that's something that hindi ko talaga makalimutan.
For me, siguro yung rule number 1. Kasi doon mo makikita kung gaano kalaki yung trust sa amin ni Coach. Kasi kahit anong gawin mo, parang use your judgment lang din. Siguro, sinabi din ni Coach na parang kahit magkita tayo sa party, I don't mind kasi parang use your judgment. Kung pariwara ka naman sa career mo, ikaw naman yung magsasuffer, di ba? So parang hindi niya tumatak sa akin na parang yun lang.
Meron. Sa akin, siguro, sobrang ni Coach Topex, next play daw. Palagi next play. Pagpangit yung tira, pagpangit yung turnover, next play daw. So I think for us as players talaga, it really gives us confidence. Kasi daming mistakes this season as players, talaga turnovers, bad shots, working together. Pero sobrang ni Coach Topex, next play. And so when you have a coach that believes in what you're doing, we're the players on the floor, and he trusts you to make those mistakes, it really gives us confidence to come down. If we miss 2 or 3 shots in a row, he tells you to keep shooting. If you make a bad pass or you make a bad drive, he tells you to keep doing it, but do it this way, and you stay within the system. We have a playground that we've been able to create because of Coach Topex. Our practices in the beginning were super ugly. They were really bad. Cole, learning a new offense, learning everybody. But he said this is where you get to make mistakes, and even in the game we're going to make mistakes. But throughout our 9-game win streak, we made so many mistakes, but we stuck together. We had a lot of plays that were just either hockey assists or assists because we wanted to make sure we moved that ball. And so when Coach Topex says next play, I said that to Evan, I said that to KQ, and they say it back to us. So it's not just one person or not just one person saying that. Every 16th member of this team is saying it to everybody else. So really when you have that being said over and over through the course of the game, the confidence goes through the roof.
Well, to end this interview, we'd like to ask the last question to Coach Topex. Now, we've heard the players tell us kung anong natutunan nila kay Coach Topex. Ang last question naman natin ngayon, Coach Topex, ano namang ang natutunan mo sa mga players mo na nadala mo sa finals and all the way to the championship?
Just hearing them out, and obviously we have usual conversations naman with them. I mean, those are really personal conversations that we really spent time together. Sometimes those are difficult conversations then. You know, when you say difficult, you have to really be gut level honest. By being gut level honest, you also have to expect what they will tell me are also gut level honest. So that means it will touch your ego. I mean, you get to mali nga yung decision ko, and you have to be willing to say sorry if you messed up. So that's one of the things that I really learned having those conversations with them. And just to define it, Sir Dean and Mika, I think ngayon na ako naniniwala na, you know, a true definition of a leader is to create more leaders. You know, you're not only creating followers, because if you're gonna create followers, they're not gonna take you to a place that you can never go alone. So, ang dami, like just looking at these people around beside me, ang dami kong mapipick na moment that they really define that they are becoming leaders of their own. And alam na nila kung ano yung ayaw ko eh. That moment with Yui, alam nila ayaw ko magalit. So pag nakasimangot na ako, sasabihin na nila, Coach, yung ugat mo, galit na. So, ano na yun, alam na nila na sign yun. So, okay. So, ako na yung vampire. So, yun yung mga ganung bagay that hindi nila napapansin, but I'm picking stuff from them. Like, pag huddle, pag nakatingin na ako ng masama, Mike will gather everybody. Don't listen to him. Let's stay together. So, yun yung, sabi ko, wow, galing. Parang, now you're having leaders, but sabi ko nga, yun yung siguro more than the championship. It's really something that these veterans will take with them as they leave us, and yun yung isang bagay that I know that they will bring with them. You know, everything that we've learned through this season, it's really being an emotional moment, you know, having that time that we have to say goodbye. Kumbaga, but we're just happy that when they leave this team, this program, they've taken a part of us with them. And they will always be a part of us. Kasi sila yung nag-set ng tone eh. You know, the standards now will be Ben standard, will be Mark standard, will be Evan standard, will be F standard, you know, will be Waki standard, and hopefully not gonna be KQ standard. So, simple yun. So, yun lang, yung amin is how to keep this culture alive. Yun yung next step namin, which is gonna be challenging, but it's always gonna be fulfilling. Because it's gonna take us again to a place that we cannot go alone.
Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat for this very interesting interview. Pero wag po kayo aalis, because what we have in store for you is a very interesting tour of the LaSalle dorm, plus an exclusive one-on-one interview with the graduating player, F. Escandor. Stick around.